Hi guys, it's Stitch Witch here, and I have another quick tutorial for you. For the purpose of the tutorial today, I'm going to be using Red Heart Super Saver. And I'm using the color white. And this is going to be a modern granny square. Okay. Now you start the modern granny square the same way that you would normally start a traditional granny square. Some people like to do 3 chains, some do 5, I do 4. So you chain 4, and then you're going to slip stitch to the very first chain. And that's going to form a ring. You're going to chain 2. Some people chain 3, but I find that chaining 2 doesn't leave that much of a gap, and it still gives you a double crochet height stitch. And you're going to go into that center ring, and you were going to do 2 more double crochets. And then on my corners, I chain 2. And some people chain 1 or 3. It's just going to depend on your preference for that. Now back into the center circle, we are going to do 3 more double crochets. If you do not understand how to do a double crochet, I believe I do have a tutorial that goes over how to do double crochets and single crochets. So we got our 3 double crochets. I'm going to chain 2 and back into the center circle for 3 more double crochets. There's 1 and 2 and 3, and I'm going to chain 2 and pause for 1 quick second. I just realized I am doing a video on a white table with white yarn. So let me remedy that really quick. Just going to pop on something with a little color. There we go. Might make it a little bit easier to see. Okay. And for the purpose of this tutorial, that is my work shirt. So we've had our chain 2, and we're going to do our final set of 3 double crochets. There is 1 and 2 and 3. Now don't forget, we're going to join up to this top of this chain 2 right here, the first double crochet. But before you do that, you're going to need to chain 2 to make your last corner. And then you're going to go into the top of that chain 2, and you're going to do 1 slip stitch. And let me get that to focus a little bit. Maybe I need a better camera, or I kind of need lessons. I am not quite sure on that, but let me see. No, it's still a little fuzzy. This camera doesn't exactly have little options on it on how to get it to clear up. So let me just try moving the camera a little closer. That seems to work, and here is our initial square. Now, before we do anything else, some people like to slip stitch over to the next corner. I actually prefer to just flip our work over, and that has you right at the corner. And what you're going to do is you're going to pop your hook in there, and you're going to do a slip stitch. And we are going to begin our next row. And we've done 1 slip stitch right there, so you're going to want to chain 3, because we are in the corner, and into the same corner stitch, we're going to pop our hook in there, and we're going to do 1 single crochet. And we've made our first corner. Now we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, and 3, And we're going to do a single crochet right over here in this very next corner, and then we are going to chain 3. We're going to go right into the very same space and do a single crochet. So every corner in this pattern for this particular row, in the corners you will have a single crochet, a chain 3, and a single crochet. Now you're going to do 3 more stitches, 3 more chains, and skip over to this next corner, and we're going to do the same thing again. A single crochet, a chain 3, and in the same stitch, a single crochet. And then we're going to over the corner, okay, and your 3, and 4 corners. Now, here is the start of the row, right over here. So what we're going to do is we're going to get over there by chaining 3, and we're going to skip over these 3 double crochets. And you see this chain 3 right here. There's 1 chain, 2, and 3. We are going to go into the top, the very first chain of the chain 3. Not the single crochet, the very first chain of the chain 3. And we're going to slip stitch into that. And right there is the end of row 2. Now this is a 2-row repeat. So we are going to repeat the very first row again. We are going to flip our work over. And notice we're not going to be in this corner space. We're going to be right here where this first chain 3 is, in this space right there. You're going to put your hook into that first chain 3, pull up a loop, and slip stitch into that chain 3 space. You are going to chain up 2, 1, 2, and you were going to do 2 more double crochets into this chain 3 space. There's 1 and 2. And excuse my cell phone there. Now, after we've done this first grouping of the 3 double crochets, we're not going to chain. We are just going to yarn over, go into the very next chain 3 space, which happens to be a corner space, and we're going to do 3 double crochets. There's 1 and 2 and 3. In this row, we're going to chain 2, and in the very same space, we are going to do 3 more double crochets. There's 1, 2, and 3. Now we have our first corner space of row 3. Moving along, we are going to go over to the next chain 3 space, and we are going to do 3 double crochets. And we're right back at a corner space again, and in the corners, we are going to do 3 double crochets. There's 1, and there is 2, and 3, chain 2, grab some more yarn here, and in the same space, we are going to do 3 more double crochets to complete our second corner. There's 2, and 3. So we have our 2 corners completed. We're going to keep on going, repeating the same process over and over. we have our next chain 3 space, which is one of our sides, and we are going to do 3 double crochets. There we go. And that brings us to another corner. And in the corners, what do? We're going to do 3 double crochets. There's 2 and 3. Chain 2 and 3 double crochets in the same corner space. There's 1, 2, and 3. Now we have our last side right here. We are going to do 3 double crochets right into this chain space. Let's move this ball of yarn out of the way. And that brings us to our final corner space. We are going to do, again, 3 double crochets, and then a chain 2, and 3 double crochets to complete this last corner. So there's 2 double crochets, oops, 3 double crochets, and then our chain 2, and one more set of 3 double crochets into the same corner space. Okay, this is not a crochet hook that I am used to. It is a new one that I'm trying. I'm using a 6mm, a J hook. I decided to try out a Furls crochet hook, and it's just a little bit different than the standard metal hook as far as ergonomic. It's got a nice grip to it. I'm liking it, but I am not used to it yet. So it still feels a little bit weird to me. Okay, we've done our final corner. Now we're going to join to this first set of double crochets by going into the top of that chain 2, pulling a loop through, and doing a slip stitch to complete the row. And that is row 3. Now we're going to repeat row 2. We're going to turn our work, and you see this group of double crochets, this 3 right here, these 3 right here. We're going to go into the space between these and this set of double crochets. We're going to go right in between those 2 sets, pop our hook in there, pull up a loop, and do a slip stitch. Now we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and we're going to skip over to the next space, which is our corner space. We are going to do it this row. Remember, we're going to do a single crochet, a chain of 3, and a single crochet in the same space. Now you have to look for it. You see the sets of the 3 double crochets. I'm going to put this down here. Here's one set right here, and the little gap in between. Here's another set right here, and here's the next gap, and then you have your chain 3 corner space. So from here, we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, and 3, and we're going to go over between the sets from the row below, and we're going to do a single crochet. Now we're going to chain 3, and we're going to skip over to the next little gap between the double crochet clusters, and we're going to do a single crochet. I like this pattern because it's kind of mindless. You don't really have to think about it too much. And it's something you can, easily watch TV with, catch a movie, whatever. Just relax and crochet before you know it. Giant square blanket. So we have this set of double crochets, and here's our corner space, and we got our chain 3. So we're going to do a single crochet into this corner space. We're going to chain 3 and a single crochet into the same corner space. Now we're just going to repeat this all the way around. Chaining 3, go to the next space, and do a single crochet, chain 3, over to the next space and do a single crochet, chain 3, and we are at our corner space. So what do we do there? We're going to do a single crochet, a chain 3, and a single crochet, all into the same corner space. And then we keep repeating all the way around, chaining 3 into the next space between clusters and do a single crochet. Chain 3 into the next space between the clusters below and do a single crochet. Chain 3, and here we are at the corner space again, and you know what we do there in the corners. We're going to do a single crochet, a chain 3, and a single crochet. Now chain 3, skip over to the next space between clusters and do a single crochet. Now we are at the end of the row. We just need one more chain 3. 1, 2, and 3. And we're going to skip over this cluster. And right here, the very first chain from that chain 3, you're going to slip your hook in there, pull the loop through, and pull it through and do a slip stitch. And that's going to complete that row. Scoot that up a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and trim my tail so it's out of the way. And that is what it's looking like so far. And you're just going to keep repeating the same 2 rows. When you're on the chain row, you're going to do a single crochet in between the clusters, a chain 3, and then another single crochet across the sides. And in the corner spaces, when you get to those, you will do a single crochet, a chain 3, and a single crochet in that same corner, and then keep repeating the chain 3 and single crochet in between the clusters all along the sides. Now we're done with this row. We're going to flip our work, and it brings us to this space right here. We're going to go ahead and slip stitch into this space and chain 2. And we're going to repeat our double crochet cluster row, our granny clusters, if you will. We're not going to chain between the clusters. We are just going to do 3 double crochets into every chain 3 space all along the sides. And when you get to the corner, you're just going to do 3 double crochets. Whoops. There's 2. Oh, keep all the yarn out of the way. And here's the third one. Now we're going to, oops, see, I'm not used to this hook yet. I keep slipping off. There's chain 2, and then 3 more double crochets. I don't know, I'm just used to the more traditional metal hook, and I just wanted to try something different. And I will say it's very comfortable for anybody with arthritis. This hook is very, very comfortable for that. And we're just going to keep repeating our 3 double crochet clusters into every chain 3 space, all the way along the sides. And then we're all going to listen to my 5 chihuahuas bark because they don't know when to shut up. They get a little excited sometimes. Someone's shutting a car door 5 houses over, so they're going to bark at it. Just keep doing our double crochet clusters in every chain 3 space, all the way along the side. Very, very simple stitch. This is going to be the last row of the tutorial, and I'll do a quick review. Now when you get to the corners, you're going to do 3 double crochets. See? Oops. Still getting used to that. There's 1, there is 2, and there's 3. you're going to do a chain 2, and into that same corner space, you're going to do 3 more double crochets, now I'm also holding the yarn a little bit different than I had in earlier videos. This hand right here, I slipped on ice and I broke my wrist on both sides and dislocated my thumb and did a little tendon damage. And I'm just now getting, back into the swing of crocheting, but I have to be careful how I hold it, hold the yarn. My hand is still healing, and it's starting to cramp up right now, so that's why I picked an easy stitch to learn, just doing a small granny square with you. For those of you that like those join as you go granny squares, you can most certainly make a bunch of these squares and then join them all together with a pretty little border row. I think that might look nice. There are so many ways to do granny squares. I might come on tomorrow with a completely different granny square and show you that one. Or I might just start going through all the stitches that I know and one by one just do tutorials on those. Something that's quick and easy to whip up in a video and not too hard on my hand while it's done healing. Give me one quick second here. I gotta actually put my compression glove on because it's really starting to hurt. Okay. Sorry about that. Now I'm on this corner, and in the corners we do the 3 double crochets, our chain 2, and 3 double crochets, and then all along the sides you are just going to do 3 double crochets into every chain 3 space all the way across. And in your corners you will always do 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 double crochets into the same corner space. Just finish up this row. We're almost to the last corner. See, this is a pretty easy pattern. I like how it looks. I know my little color drop here is sliding off the table. There we go. Sorry about that. One more group of double crochet stitches before we get to our corner. There we go. Now here we are at the final corner. We are going to do 3 double crochets. Every corner on this pattern is 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 double crochets for this row. Very easy. I'll review the chain row really quickly at the end of this row to make sure we have it. Okay, so we have our we have our 3 double crochets, our chain 2, and our 3 double crochets. Now we have one more chain 3 space, and what we're going to do in there is we're just going to work 3 double crochets, and that does bring us to the end of the row. One thing I do like about this granny square pattern, for those of you that don't like the bigger holes that are in the traditional granny squares, this is really nice because it still gives you the granny square look, but in a way that doesn't have the giant gaps in between the double crochet clusters. It does tighten that up a little bit, and according to my husband, it makes him feel warmer with this stitch. Now we're at the end of the row, and we have this chain 2 right here. We're going to go into the top chain of that chain 2, and we are going to slip stitch into that row, and that is the end of that row. Now remember, I am flipping my work between every row. So a quick review of both the rows. You flip your work, you go into the very first space, and you do a slip stitch. Now when you're on the chain row, you are going to chain 3, and go over to the next space and do a single crochet. And you're going to keep chaining. You're going to keep chaining 3. Sorry about that, I got noisy dogs. And doing a single crochet in every space all the way around. But when you get to the corners, you do your single crochet, your chain 3, and your single crochet all in that same corner space. And then you will chain 3, single crochet, chain 3, single crochet into the next space, chain 3, single crochet into the next space, chain 3, single crochet into the next space, all the way along the sides. And just remember, when you get to the corners on this row, it's single crochet, chain 3, and single crochet. And then you get to the end of the row and you do your slip stitch and flip your work over. When you're on the double crochet cluster row, when you join the row below and you flip it and you start the next row, you're going to chain 2 and do 2 more double crochets into the first chain 3 space. Here's one right here. And then you will move over to the next chain 3 space and do 3 double crochets, and so on until you get to the corner. But once you get to the corner, you're going to do 3 double crochets, a chain 2, and 3 double crochets. And then you will keep doing your 3 double crochet clusters in the chain 3 spaces all the way along the sides until you get to the next corner, where you're going to do the 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 double crochets. And you just keep repeating these 2 rows over and over until you get your project as big as you want. If you want to do one giant square blanket, that is awesome. I am working on one. I can kind of pop it over here. I am using 2 different colors for this. The basic white, which I just did the tutorial in. And let me grab the other color, which would be Super Saver Stripes. This is really, really, really pretty. I am totally liking the colorway. Let me pull one out of the bag here so we can get a closer look. So the Red Heart Super Saver Stripes. It's about 236 yards. And they even have this blanket I think I want to try with my next set of yarn. Nice little pattern right there. It is called Retro Stripe. And it is a medium 4-weight, and it is recommending a 5.5. But I like kind of a looser drape. So I'm going with my bigger hook. Let me just put this away. But I kind of wanted you guys to see the pattern a little bigger and showing the color changing with the stripes and everything. If I can go back some, see, it's not very big yet. You know, I've only started it yesterday. And I started it with the white, and then you got the self-striping. And then I like to be totally random when I change colors. I don't do a certain set of rows sometimes, especially when it's with this random striping in the yarn. I actually like just being random sometimes when you're changing colors for the rows. I don't always do rows of 2 and then change a color, and then 2 more rows and then change a color. I just kind of do it for a little bit and then go, oh, I just want to change colors. I find it gives it a nice, unique, random striping all the way around. It's very pretty. But I wanted you to see this with the color changing, so you could kind of see, you know, the chain 3s and our double crochet clusters and kind of how it looks when it gets a little bit bigger. So let me go ahead and put this away. But that is all that I had for you today. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial, and I will see you next time. Until then, keep on stitching.